Guys, solar panels are now sold out. I'm not joking. You can't find them. It's so hard to find, and the suppliers don't have supply. It's all sold out. You can't even buy the parts. And if you do find a contractor who has stock, good luck, because they don't want to sell to you unless you hire them for the full installation service, which, by the way, is now way more expensive than it was just a few months ago. So first, the fuel, now it's solar panels. Have some thoughts about this. Before I get into everything, I want to say something that I genuinely believe the real winners in this whole crisis are the people living simply. You know, out in the farms, off the grid, the ones who, still fetch water from a river, or they still wash their clothes in a creek, something like that, or the ones who have a small solar panel that powers one light bulb at night, the ones who still use a basic keypad phones, who grow some of their own food, like here. For these people, this crisis is barely affecting their daily life. Their lifestyle doesn't run on fuel. It never did. There's no big electricity bill to worry about, no delivery apps, no online orders, nothing that depends on diesel moving goods from one place to another. Simple farm life, rural Philippines, off-grid. Meanwhile, the people who are going to suffer the most if this gets worse are the ones living in cities and suburbs, especially in condominiums and townhouses where you have zero outdoor space. You rely on air conditioning every day, every single day. The heat inside concrete building in the Philippines without power is not something you want to experience. It's brutal. So yeah, the simple life people laughed at right now, that life is looking a lot smarter. But of course, we are not forgetting those people who built their proper houses in an off-grid property with their own internet, with their own power supply. I mean, like solar panels, solar power system with their own water well, water tank, water supply. Bravo. Bravo. But it's going to be expensive also in the rainy season, because if you're going to power your solar power system with your generator, means you need to buy fuel for your generator. That's going to be expensive. So yeah, you still have to figure out how to live more simple. So because of the crisis, everyone is now rushing to get solar power. And I get it, electricity bills are going up. There's stocks of brownouts, power outages. People are scared. The logical response seems to be go solar, get off the grid, solve the problem. But the reality on the ground right now is a mess. So I have a friend who is building a house on an off-grid property. I'm actually helping. They don't have a choice about going solar. There's no power line coming to their area. They started canvassing for parts and suppliers months ago, way before all this conflict started. They wanted to do it themselves, like DIY, because buying the parts separately and installing them is much, much cheaper than hiring a contractor to do like the whole installation service. That's way cheaper. I mean, it's ultra expensive if you hire a contractor to do everything. Now that their house is almost done and it's time to actually install the solar system, they can't find anything. Sold out everywhere. And the contractors they were talking to before, some of them won't even return their messages anymore. The ones who do respond are telling them they won't sell parts separately anymore, because you have to hire them for the full package, the full service. Their panels, their inverter, their labor, their price, no negotiation. And the prices have gone up, not a little. We're talking about 30% higher than what it was just a few months ago. Solar was already not cheap before all of this. A decent full setup could cost you anywhere from 150,000 pesos to several 100,000 pesos, depending on the size. Now, add 30% on top of that. This is exactly what happened during COVID with face mask and alcohol and then this stuff. The moment there's panic in the market, businesses know they have power, so they use it. They hold their stock, they bundle their services, They raise their prices, and they do it all while looking completely justified because, hey, the whole world is in crisis. Although there is no actual shortage of solar panels globally, manufacturing hasn't stopped. The supply chain for solar hasn't collapsed. There's not a real shortage. This is businesses seeing an opportunity and taking it. And because enforcement in the Philippines against this kind of thing is almost non-existent, nothing happens to them. So my friends are the one who pays for it, and so is everyone else who actually needs solar right now. Now, here's the part that I can't stop thinking about. Our president just publicly encouraged Filipinos to go solar because of the fuel crisis. Okay, so first there's a fuel shortage, then the president says go solar. And now suddenly solar panels and parts are nowhere to be found and prices have doubled. I'm just going to leave that there. I mean, you can still find. There are suppliers, but they will tell you, okay, I need to order it from China, I need to order it from somewhere, so it would take 2 months to arrive. So yeah, well, wow, 2 months. Because let's also talk about how the government is handling the fuel side. So the Philippines is under a declared state of national energy emergency. The president signed Executive Order 110 on March 25th, making us the first country in the world to make that declaration. The reason is, the war in Iran. To be fair, the government has moved on other fronts. There is a 20 billion pesos release fund that was approved to help secure fuel supply. They also rolled out free bus rides in some cities. National energy emergency was declared, giving the Department of Energy expanded powers to go after hoarders and fast-track international fuel contracts. So these are real actions, but here's the problem. They are supply-side moves. They help keep fuel available. They don't help ordinary Filipinos afford it. Other countries in the region are doing more, but the comparison is more complicated than it looks, of course. Like South Korea is urging citizens to save every drop, shorter showers, less electricity, public conservation on a national scale. Japan has released its biggest ever emergency oil reserve. Both countries also have something the Philippines doesn't. Decades of diversified procurement, long-term contracts with multiple suppliers, and strategic reserve infrastructure built up over years. Their better response today is partly the result of better preparation yesterday. And yes, the government is moving to source oil from Russia, India, China, and others, but the numbers are sobering. The Philippines consumes roughly 450 to almost 500,000 barrels per day. The first Russian shipment secured was, I don't know, but it's like 2 point something, 2.4, 2.7 million barrels. That's only enough for more or less 4 days, 4 to 5 days. And we are a small country with no domestic crude production, no state oil company. The deeper problem isn't just the administration's crisis response. It goes back further. In the 1998, the Philippines fully deregulated its oil sector. Countries like Indonesia, Malaysia can cap pump prices because they have state-owned energy companies and subsidy infrastructure already in place. We dismantled ours in the name of free markets. That was a bet on stability. The Strait of Hormuz just called that bet, and we lost. Now everyone already know that there's actually a ceasefire announced between the US and Iran. So 2 weeks, and as part of the deal, the Strait of Hormuz is reopening. Ships can pass again, but they have to coordinate with Iranian or armed forces. And Iran is reportedly charging $2 million per ship for passage. Oil prices drop, which sounds great. This is only 2 weeks. Negotiations are still ongoing. Nothing between US and Iran is fully resolved. Sanctions, missiles, military presence in the region, none of it. If talks break down, the strait closes again and we're back to where we were, except with even less reserves than before. So yes, it's a development, but don't expect to feel it at the pump anytime soon. Prices don't go up this fast and come back down at the same speed. That's just not how it works, and we all know that. Which brings me to the main point. Are we panicking about the right thing? Because everyone is focused on electricity, solar panels, brownouts, electric fans, and yes, that's a real problem. But fuel doesn't just power your lights. It powers everything that moves. Every truck bringing food from the province, every truck bringing food from the ports, every delivery van, every cold storage truck, the whole food supply chain runs on diesel. So if it gets worse, if the situation gets worse, if the ceasefire falls apart, prices keep climbing, supply runs low, food becomes more expensive to move, which means more expensive to buy. Farmers get squeezed on both sides, fuel for equipment, fuel for irrigation, and fertilizer prices going up because fertilizer made from petroleum. Fishermen are already staying home some days because the fuel costs more than what they'll earn. Over 400 gas stations across the Philippines have already closed permanently. So if refrigerated trucks can't afford to operate, food spoils before it even reaches us. This is not fear mongering. This is just, following the logic of what's already happening in front of us. The shelves are still stocked right now. So people respond to what they can see, the electricity bill, of course, and ignore what's building underneath it. But solar powered refrigerator that's empty is still an empty refrigerator. So my friends are still looking for their solar panels, and I hope they find them at a fair price. Their situation is real. They have no other option, and what's happening to them is genuinely unfair. But I think their situation is showing us something bigger. The crisis is real. The government has officially said so, and the response from businesses, from consumers, and from government itself is showing exactly where the gaps are. Are you experiencing anything similar in your country right now? Whether it's fuel prices, shortages, or business taking advantage? Drop it in a comment. I want to hear about it. And if this video gave you something to think about, hit like and subscribe. I post videos like this every week. I'll see you guys in the next one.